Welcome to the R&L Revolution Nothing Less show. This is episode number 113 on August 4th, 2022. My name is Andy Z, and I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Revolution, nothing less. Every week we bring the message of revolution, real revolution, to overthrow this system, the system of capitalism-imperialism that we live under. We're not fronting about some phony revolution while playing around for a few changes that leave this system in power. We're not about begging for a few crumbs or a bigger share of the spoils of the imperialist feast on the people of the world. No, this is a revolution for a radically new and far better world. Every week, through exposing the crimes and outrages that this system perpetrates on the people here and around the world, we bring to life why an actual revolution is necessary, why and how it is possible. And we bring the inspiring vision of how much better life could be for the great majority of people if millions of people got behind this revolution and carried it through, making it possible to restructure all of society on a completely different foundation, with a radically different economic system that's not based on the capitalist imperialists ruthlessly competing with each other to see who can most efficiently, that is most viciously, exploit the people and despoil the planet. This real revolution will replace this system with a radically different and much better economic and political system, a socialist system, based on meeting the needs of the people and carrying forward the fight for a communist world where there will finally be an end everywhere to the exploitation, oppression, and destruction of the environment that is built into this system of capitalism-imperialism. A declaration and call to get organized now for a real revolution says, quote, "Anything less than this revolution will completely fail to deal with the root of all the problems that torment humanity or lead to the actual solution." A real revolution is a big deal. It is complex. It involves sacrifice and courage, and it requires far-sighted scientific leadership. Leadership to strategically navigate through the whole process with a clear vision and plan for a radically new society where people would flourish, a state that would support and enable them to go to work collectively on overcoming all the ways in which the masses of humanity have been exploited, oppressed, turned against each other, and mentally enslaved by millennia of the mental slavery of tradition's chains. There is such leadership in Bobavakian, B.A., a radically different kind of leader who has qualitatively further developed and enriched the scientific approach to society and making revolution and achieving a communist world. A leader who has given his heart to the goal of the emancipation of all humanity. A leader who has developed a strategy, a roadmap to make and win a revolution. A revolutionary leader who has written a path-breaking constitution for a new socialist republic in North America. You will get to know and experience BA through the course of regularly watching the R&L show. Now, a pivotal part of this strategy for revolution is hard-hitting, compelling, ferocious struggle against all the ways of thinking that keep people chained to this system. There are millions of people in this country who yearn to see an end of white supremacy, of male supremacy, and all forms of gender oppression. Look, millions of people have seen the picture of the Earth from space, the deep blue oceans, the clouds that provide the water of life, the green and brown of the soil that sustains us. This is an image that captures the dream of millions for a world without borders, where today tens of millions of immigrants are demonized and driven from their homes only to confront detention camps and worse. The beauty of this photograph makes one recoil at the wars that maim and destroy in perpetuation of this system for the benefit of a few. This is a photo in its simple and powerful image that speaks of the dreams for a world where all that will be no more. These are dreams that really could be, but they are thwarted not only by the system that exploits and oppresses and represses with its courts, police, and armies that enforce this domination, but by all the ways of thinking by those same millions of people who deep down yearn to be free but remain imprisoned in the ways of thinking that mirror this dog-eat-dog system we live under. Ways of thinking which are endlessly promoted by the institutions of this society, the media, the schools, the religious institutions with their many dogmas, along with all the outmoded traditions that are passed down through the family. All the ideas of look out for number one, for my family, my tribe. Ideas like get rich or die trying, nice guys finish last. If I am not for myself, who will be? My country, my set, my religion, my people, me, me, me. All of that is the gridlock on the road to the hell that we are already in. Struggling to transform the thinking of the people who most need and who need to take up and make this revolution is a pivotal part of the process of preparing today, a pivotal part of the roadmap for a real revolution. In Something Terrible or Something Truly Emancipating, the critical and seminal work by Bob Avakian for this country in this time, the title poses two sharply different and divergent paths that can be taken. And there is a subtitle: Profound Crisis, Deepening Divisions, the Looming Possibility of Civil War and the Revolution that is urgently needed. And this indicates the situation out of which a revolution could be wrenched through what we do. Something Terrible or Something Truly Emancipating as a strategic whole provides the foundation in our understanding and the roadmap to preparing and organizing today for a revolution that could be possible. And this will be a continuing subject and a theme of the RNL Revolution Nothing Less show over the next many months. Today, we're going to highlight a pivotal part of this strategy, the fierce struggle to transform the thinking of people, the thinking of masses of people. In Something Terrible or Something Truly Emancipating, Bob Avakian writes this, quote, "While it is crucially important to unite with people in rising up against the terrible injustices and outrages constantly perpetrated by this system, and to continually bring alive the possibility of a radically different and emancipating alternative, once again, it needs to be stressed. It is necessary to wage a tireless struggle to break people out of the ways of thinking and acting that in fact keep them chained to this system and contributing to perpetrating this system in one form or another." And he goes on to say, "While masses of people urgently need this revolution, it is all too true that right now, the great majority of them are thinking in a lot of wrong ways, and to put things straight up, they don't know shit and have their heads up their asses. And this needs to be radically changed, and it can be, but only through a tremendous amount of sharp struggle." There's a lot of bullshit that people get caught up in. BA in Something Terrible or Something Truly Emancipating has concentrated 6 key ways of thinking and acting that keep people trapped within a terrible present and which will lead to an even more horrific future. He sharply poses these against the revolutionary way of thinking and acting. We have come to call these the insteads. Take some time to listen to them and listen to them again. Think about them and use them. Every time you see or hear someone getting into one or another of these insteads, or if you find yourself there, wield these to get out of that shit and get into what's really, quote, keeping it real, revolution. So let's listen to how Bob Avakian sharply poses these 2 ways, these 2 roads that people can take. One, of accommodation to all the crap of this system and its ways of thinking and being and acting that leave the world the horror it is, up against the radically different way of thinking, being, and acting for revolution, for the emancipation of all humanity.
It is the responsibility of everyone who recognizes the profound need for revolution and the rare possibility in a time like this to actually make revolution, to wage a tireless and at times fierce struggle to win more and more people to make a radical rupture with the confining and degrading terms of this system, and to take up and act on the revolutionary orientation and motivation that is put forward in the Declaration and Call. Instead of staying in your lane and going for self,
I stay in my lane.
Always put you first.
while this system is moving to even more decisively crush any hope for a world worth living in, people need to be looking at the bigger picture, focusing on the greater interests of humanity and the possibility for a far better world, and acting to make this a reality. Instead of finding excuses to go along with the way things have been, standing apart from or even bad-mouthing the revolution.
Oh, they're fucking RevCom. God damn it, dude.
People need to get with this revolution and not throw away the rare opportunity to be part of bringing something much better into being. Instead of lashing out with individual acts of frustration or attempts to take on this system with small, isolated forces that have no chance of succeeding, people need to pour their anger and their hatred of injustice into building a movement of millions that could have a real chance to defeat this system and make a real revolution. Instead of fighting and killing each other, what people need to be doing now is uniting to defend each other, opposing all unjust violence, not launching attacks on anyone, but at the same time, not allowing the police or civilian fascist thugs to wantonly brutalize and murder people. And people need to do this as part of building up the forces for revolution. Instead of snarking and sniping at each other and being divided by identities, people should be working to unite everyone from every part of society who can be united in the fight against oppression and injustice, with the goal of putting an end to this system that is the source of this oppression and injustice. Instead of being a tail on the democratic donkey, with its attempt to keep this monstrous system going and to deal with the growing fascist danger by relying on the normal procedure of this system and doomed efforts to heal the divisions that are deepening every day, people need to work for the revolution that is urgently needed and deal with the fascist danger as part of doing that.